Just wanted to get this out there really quick. If there wasn't anything sinister behind the full disclosure movement, then it wouldn't be a secret what I'm saying. But I find I'm so annoyed. I'm so sick of like the lies, the bullshit, and like the strange behavior from people, because it's more than what they're saying, it's what they're not saying. And then like the weird things that they do at these conferences, and just the level of high strangeness in behavior that continues so long as the movement continues. I don't want the movement to continue. I don't want the super soldier movement to continue. I don't want society in this matrix machine, which Scientologists call it a machine. I don't want it to continue. The whole thing is a mockery of what I want, a reality upright, right? The balance of the influence restored. Right now it's inverted. You're all following the whore of Babylon, the Jezebels, the witches, the drones. You're watching the porn and obsessed with the greed. You know, you got these weird narcissistic families that you just can't get away from, these weird, strange behavior. So that's why I'm saying this. So I had pinned this yesterday. It was on Zuby, Zuby, did 4 days ago. He did a podcast with a guy that was getting out of like his whole life. He was in it since he was a baby. He was born into Scientology. So it's really worth a listen. And so it's interesting. I had clipped it, saved it yesterday, and then today, this like rarely happens, but today it just pings my mind. There was something that I clipped yesterday that I really wanted to actually watch, and it was this one on Scientology, but it didn't take me very long at all to connect these dots. So the gentleman was saying how Scientology has 4 main headquarters: Los Angeles, Copenhagen, Denmark, Central Florida. Where were we all just at? Central Florida, and West Sussex, UK. There's also connections to Canada, and obviously Austin, Texas, where I live here and now. We have a Scientology church right next to the University of Texas. It's one of the weirdest parts of Austin, Texas. So then I think about, well, my brain immediately connects these dots. Who are in the little VIP area of the full disclosure conference, who are like the big, what do you call them? I don't know, big influencers? You have the gentleman from Age of Truth TV. They're from Copenhagen, Denmark. Miles Johnston lives in West Sussex, UK, England. The Meyer family, Haley Meyer, James Casbold's ex-wife, Los Angeles. A lot of people came out of Los Angeles. And then where were we all just at? Central Florida. Conference in Central Florida. So my brain connects these dots so quickly, but it gets worse or whatever, better. I don't know. He also said there are underground bunkers. He said there's 4 underground bunkers for Scientologists. One of them is in New Mexico. One of them is in Colorado. So I've also been at conferences in New Mexico and Colorado. When I got into this stuff in like 2017, 2018, it didn't take me long to find out that a lot of these people are evil because they would try to attempt witchcraft after me, but nothing ever worked because I guess, I was in here to not have anything really happen, but be like bait. I'm like bait to these people. So God uses me like bait and just dangles me in front of the worst people, and or the worst people find themselves in my vicinity as a means to do something weird. Consciously or unconsciously, I've consistently been used as bait. And so that was my experience. And then I realized there's a lot of people who have been abused by these famous speakers that are getting together at these conferences. So I don't know anyone who has collected as much testimony as I have from seemingly ordinary people who are still suffering, or at least back in 2017, 2018, still suffering at the hands of the abusers that are these big speakers and teachers of this full disclosure New Age movement. So, and a lot of them are saying they're Scientologists. So then this gentleman coming out saying he came out of Scientology, and these are the 4 main headquarters, and who's in the VIP tent, and where are they from? The 4 big headquarters. Where are we at? One of the 4 big headquarters. There's a huge Navy connection. So you all know Laura Eisenhower is like big Navy connection. All those people with the Navy connection to New Age full disclosure. Nate Gray, also huge Navy connection. James Casbolt, didn't know, should have. How did I not know this? This is like major. Didn't know his grandfather was in Navy. Nate Gray is also a Mormon. A lot of people suspect that the ideas of Scientology actually came from Joseph Smith and Mormonism, inspired by Mormonism. Then it brings me to, if you guys know the relationship of L. Ron Hubbard, Jack Parsons, and Aleister Crowley. It was like, I think it was like mid-40s. They were doing all this black magic to basically open a portal to allow all these alien deities, demons, into our realm to basically gobble people up. Now, why is L. Ron Hubbard, the creator of Scientology, also, it's just supposed to be a religion that saves the world? Why is he part of this massive operation that changed the course of history since the mid-40s to do this black magic with Jack Parsons, who was allegedly a rocket engineer? Do you know any rocket engineers that are like Dr. Evils right now? And Aleister Crowley, who was like the basically king of black magic. This dude who wants to save the world gets together with these other two to let these deities into our realm. Because perhaps their means of saving the world was actually gobbling people up. And then, of course, you know, Bob Osborne is James Casbolt's new handler. He bought the Crowley cult house in Zenor, which is where they used to do a lot of Crowley magic. So all comes full circle. This is a Scientology cult. I don't want to call it a cult. I think there's, you know, good things that can come out of it. Respect me, or sorry about ya. Read your comments, and then I gotta go. Oh, I was able to do that fast. See, when things are like simple and basic and kind of come together, makes sense, it doesn't take 5 hours to explain it. Let's see. What's up, Need to Fish? Good afternoon, Daniel. Good to see you. Good to see you, Brandon. They also use nepotism. Yeah, so I don't suspect that there's going to be like a revolution and like the good guys are going to take over, full disclosure. No, I suspect they're going to continue to act weirder. They're going to get weirder. But the whole movement is for me, it's a mockery of my life. It's a mockery of Jesus. It's a mockery of the true mother. This is a big Horror Babylon cult. This is a major inversion of reality. So everything they do is like a mockery of reality. I'm saying I don't want this to continue. I want society as we know it to come to some type of stopping point, because so long as society continues on the way it's going, so long as the full disclosure movement is continuing on the way it's going, so long as the super soldier activation bullshit is still going on the way it's going, so long as it's going on, it's a personal mockery to a soul that I feel connected to. It's like they call it a machine, Scientology machine. Okay, I don't want to be trapped in your machine anymore. That's why I talk my way out of it. Brandon loves the Scientology topic. Sister Gigi Young is way into it. Yeah, I mean, another new age chick person. I mean, I want to say optimistically it might not be all bad, but it's all seemingly a mockery of the culture that I would prefer to the one we're currently living in. And maybe that is the whole mechanism of it, is some kind of weird wipeout where people die and go into a machine, right? Everlasting life in a machine. Isn't that like the metaverse? And then Hank Meyer, James Casbo's ex-father-in-law, is like that's his like invention. If that isn't too far out there, like this whole thing is his invention, because he's shown me in dreams that like virtually weren't even like dreams, but they kind of were, because it's like walking through this machine, and it's like this is where all the souls are going to be enslaved. I'm not going to be in that. This is what I mean. This whole thing is a mockery of what I would actually prefer. In the meantime, we're living in this weird limbo. So long as there are two females present on the planet opposing archetypally, so long as both of us are present in one realm, you're living in a chaotic realm. We can't coexist in any kind of harmony. So if the one gets knocked off, you're in heaven. If the other one gets knocked off, you're in hell. You get to decide heaven or hell. The Bible says, come away from her, my people, talking about the culture of Babylon, with all the lust and narcissism, all these alien invaders. So it is like everything seemingly upright, but the one major inversion is that every single thing these men have done was to oppose the upright feminine energy, the one they would prefer to keep enslaved, because they are here illegally. They're on a feminine planet. So when that feminine spirit wakes up and it realizes, oh, you invaded my planet, you're on my planet, they're here illegally, guess what? The tears in the freaking realm are going to get a lot bigger, and I believe they're going to get kicked out. They think they're not. I can't. That's incredible ignorance and arrogance on their part, but that's how these men act. They're incredibly arrogant, ignorant, reprobate. No offense to Brian Singh. I think he got too much attention too quick and maybe got into, I don't know what. But, he's getting a little goofy. He's acting a little goofy. I'm kind of worried about him because he's acting a little goofy. Because you get turned reprobate when you make the wrong mental decisions, when you hang around the wrong people. And he was warned. I did warn him. Not saying I'm some like almighty guru to warn everybody, but I was like, hey, just look out for this. Nobody ever hangs around these people for long. And when they do, nobody's made better by hanging around them. And he's like, no, I think it's okay. I'm like, all righty. Well, I hope it's okay. But the way history would have it, it never happens to be the case. And in the prideful nature, for whatever reason, these men keep going with these groups, with these cults, with these people, and they turn reprobate. They get nutty and weird, and they start acting weird. And that is our sign to say, perhaps it's because you made some dicey decisions and now you gotta deal with it. Known Laura forever. Nate and I talked a long time ago. He was nice. Yeah, Nate doesn't live too far from here. We've hung out a few times. Alrighty, well, that's just it. There's a theory that we all died. Yeah, all these weird things, right? With CERN. Right? I've heard these theories are so interesting. Good thinking. I had deja vu yesterday, and they say deja vu is something weird. I mean, what is going on? We want, like what I said, I want all this stuff to stop. I want full disclosure, stop. Society, stop. Super soldier, stop. Scientology, stop. Like, don't stop, just like finish the job. What I should say is like, don't stop, finish the job, because you're done. Because it's over. Because people are now awake and aware and connected all these dots that took me 5 minutes listening to an hour podcast, and this perfect freaking, you're a bunch of Scientologists, and this is what Scientology is. And I think the whole world is engulfed in some type of Scientology. I don't want to be a part of your machine. I don't want to coexist with your machine. I don't want to coexist with the Whore of Babylon, and I don't want to coexist with a bunch of men who created a machine that was everything seemingly good, but the one thing was it was at complete odds with the spirit of the planet and the mother herself. You're done. That's it. And I'm not mad about it. I'm happy about it. Good riddance. Take your harvest and get out. They won't just do it. I guess they're going to have to be like severely like threatened or something. They say these groups, these Orion groups, they're just so like in disbelief, right? It's this reprobate mind. They're in such disbelief of what is coming. And maybe those who aren't the worst of them actually heed to the warning a little bit. but they're not gonna get out on their own, they're gonna be kicked out, and they don't understand. I Some people are just zombies, you know what I mean? Alright, check you later. We'll talk more later, I gotta go.